Hi, I'm Daryl Forte, owner of Everlast Software. Today I'm going to be discussing encryption types because there's a lot of confusion about encryption and what it does. So there's three main ways in which encryption is used, and actually two of them are the ones that are used 99% of the time. The three ways are what's called encryption at rest. That's when you're storing information on permanent storage, such as a hard drive, a CD, things of that nature. Then you have encryption in motion, which is where you send information or data across a network of some kind. And then finally you have what's called encryption in use, which is not typically seen by the average user, but essentially what it means is while the data is being processed or computed in random access memory, it is encrypted during that period. So besides the types of encryption from that perspective, there's also encryption layers, as I call them. So you have hardware layers and you have software layers. A hardware layer would be the disk or device itself, for example. Modern iPhones have built-in hardware encryption where it has a unique identifier or key built into the actual hardware itself. And as the device stores information, the hardware encrypts using that key. So the only way to get the data back essentially is to have that exact same key that's in the hardware, which is very difficult to do. Then you have software mechanisms for doing encryption, which are a lot more flexible. So the different layers in which software encryption occurs is by the operating system or the file system or driver, an application or database, individual files, so you're using some type of software to encrypt particular files one at a time, or kind of related to that are text messages or just blocks of data within a file. So the ultimate goal with encryption is to have what's called end-to-end encryption. That means it's encrypted at rest, it means it's encrypted in motion while it goes over the network, and theoretically you should have it encrypted while it's in memory and being processed as well. The processing in memory is not as important because most of the time no one's going to have access to a device, like a hacker has access to a device, to be able to get to that random access memory. Now it can be done, I'm not saying it can't, but out of all the encryption types, that's the least important. Storage and network are pretty much equally important. I would argue that maybe network is a little more important because you could have more potential people trying to steal it, but regardless, you need both. They're both extremely critical to have. So now here's where a lot of confusion comes about. If you go to a web page and in your web browser it says HTTPS at the top and you see a little green lock icon and your web browser tells you that encryption is being performed, that's great. That means it's encryption in motion. So as the data is transferred from your computer to that web server, no one can see what it is. However, it's not encryption at rest. So if you send a file uploaded via a secure website, when it lands on that server and is being stored, so when it's at rest, you have no idea how the developers or the server is doing this. It could be completely unencrypted. Hackers could get in there and steal your data. You just don't know what they're doing. So I just wanted to point that out as a caveat. The way that you can have end-to-end encryption so that even an insecure web server would be fine is use some type of file level software encryption where you specify a password, you do it on your actual computer or device. So if you have Windows or a Mac or even an Android phone, you are typing in the password on that device and encrypting it and storing it on your device that way. Then if your backup software pulls the file and uploads it to the cloud somewhere, doesn't matter. It's already encrypted. So that's the ultimate goal. Use file level encryption. and you don't even have to worry about network level encryption at that point. So I hope this helps you, and please contact me at the website below, everlastsoftware.com, if you have any questions.